Hi, I'm Scott Flowers with Cloud Ninjas. Today we're here to start a new series on the Dell PowerEdge R6525. In this video we're going to specifically focus on CPUs, but in the video series as a whole we're going to cover CPUs, RAM, drives, network cards, power supplies, how to install an operating system, plus a bunch more. So click that like and smash that subscribe. Let's get going. Hey, thanks for stopping by today to learn a little bit more about the Dell PowerEdge R6525. Do us a favor if you find anything that helps you in this video, click that like, smash that subscribe. All right, well, let's hop in. This video will be specifically dedicated to processors. So what we're going to do in this video as a whole, we're going to start by going over the general information about the processors for this system. Then we're going to go over some recommended processors because we get asked all the time, hey, what do you recommend? So we break it down and we'll get into that. And then we're going to actually physically show you how to install it and remove an old one. So basically, if you're interested in installation, you might want to fast forward about halfway through. If you're interested in just general information or the whole thing, hey, let's get going. So there are two CPUs inside. It's an SP3 socket, which means it takes AMD EPYC Rome and Milan. So the 7002 series is Rome and the 7003 series is Milan, and you can tell by the 2 at the end of the part number will signify that it's a Rome, and the 3 at the end of the part number will signify that it's Milan. So if you're looking at the different series, obviously you need to start with the 7, but you'll see it'll change in the middle, and essentially the N will stay the same throughout the entire Rome series, and then the 3 will stay the same throughout the Milan series. That being said, what do we recommend? Well, we like to break it down into 3 different categories. So we have our low end, our value, and our high end. And essentially it's kind of self-explanatory. The low end is going to be more budget friendly. It's going to be lesser specs, but it's not going to break the bank. Then we have our value, which is going to be a nice little in-between where you still get great specs, but it's going to cost a little bit more, but not the most expensive, but that nice little sweet spot in the middle. And then we have our high end, which are just going to be the best procs for this series. Those are going to be mainly 64 cores, which I kind of skipped over actually on the general information that the max you can get in this machine is dropping in 2 64 cores and getting up to 128 cores, which would be 256 threads. That would be the max you can do for this machine. If you're interested in more than that, when you get into the next series, which is going to be Genoa, you can actually start dropping in 296 and then core or 228 core, and then now up to turn you can actually put in 192 cores. So it starts getting kind of crazy actually, but for this machine the most that you can do is 128 cores, and we'll put up our chart right now for the CPUs we recommend. All right, so now we know a little bit more about the general CPUs that we can use and the specs, some of the CPUs that we recommend. Now what we're going to do is actually show you how to remove an old proc and install a new proc, but before we do, we're going to grab our ESD gear. Be right back.
Hey, this is Mason with Cloud Ninjas, and today I'm going to show you how to remove an old processor and install a new one into your Dell PowerEdge R6525 server. We have everything we need to complete this process laid out on top of our server here. First thing you will need is your processors. As you can see, we have 2 in this tray, and then we'll go ahead and set it to the side. Next thing you'll need is a new tube of thermal paste. We also have this clean rag so we can clean the old thermal paste off of the old CPU and heatsink. And you will also need a T20-bit screwdriver to remove the heatsink from the motherboard. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop our latch and lift our top, just like any other server we've been in before. So this is CPU 1 and this is CPU 2. These 16 DIMMs are controlled by this CPU, and these 16 DIMMs are controlled by this CPU. First, let's grab our T20-bit screwdriver so we can remove the heatsink. The best way to unscrew the heatsink is by starting here. We are just doing a couple turns to gently get the heatsink unscrewed from the motherboard. After doing so, you'll go to this screw here, and then go back here, and then here. This is the safest way to remove your heatsink. It's a good idea to unscrew the heatsink this way to ensure that the motherboard doesn't get damaged. Now we can remove the heatsink and set it to the side for now. So next thing we're going to do is take our T20-bit and unscrew this bracket. Once this is unscrewed, you can just lift it up and set it back. Now we'll press down on these 2 blue clips located here and lift this second bracket up as well. Once we have that second bracket lifted off the socket, we can gently remove the CPU by guiding it through the top and set it to the side in a CPU tray. Alright, so now off to the side of the server, we will clean off this old thermal paste on our CPU and heatsink. Typically we like to clean the thermal paste off to the side of the server, that way we don't have any of that old thermal paste flaking off and getting into the DIMM slots or the socket pins, which will be a big headache to clean up, and you might even need a replacement motherboard. So if you don't want any hassle later down the line, just make sure you clean the old thermal paste off to the side of the server and not over it. So now we are back in the server and we have our new processor here, and an important key to note is to locate the gold triangle. There is one showing in this hole of the gray bracket, but on the other side it shows it as well. You will want to match triangle to the one on the bracket here. So let's go ahead and gently slide this processor through the second bracket and push it down till we hear that click sound. And that'll let us know that the CPU is set in the socket. Now we will push the last bracket down and grab our T20-bit screwdriver and screw down the bracket starting from the first screw, and then we'll go to the back two. Now we will grab our new tube of thermal paste and uncap it. Then go ahead and apply your thermal paste like so. Now this typically starts war in the comment section about how much thermal paste is needed. Some say that we put too much, others say that we put too little. Really, you want to find a nice even balance of thermal paste to go on your processor. If you put too much, the paste will leak over into the motherboard or the DIMM slots, and it would be a big mess. And you might even need a replacement motherboard. So once you apply your even balance of thermal paste, we just go ahead and screw the heatsink back on. And when you screw the heatsink back on, a good guide is to make sure that this piece at the front is covering the VRM here. So go ahead and set the heatsink down and guide it to fit the screw holes on the motherboard. And then just go ahead and screw the heatsink back to the motherboard. There you go, you've done it. You have properly removed an old CPU and installed a new CPU into your Dell PowerEdge R6525. Hey, do us a favor, hit that like button and smash the subscribe. If you're looking for any custom built Dell, HPE, Supermicro, Gigabyte, Asus, ASRock, we do it all. We have both new and refurbished, so give us a call or email us at sales@cloudninjas.com. That's sales@cloudninjas.com. Anyways guys, thanks for stopping by.